Hey folks, I've got a special treat for you today.
Oh, hang on one second.
Okay.
All right, and action.
Alright, hey folks, I've got a special treat for you today. I'm at Clement House Recording Studio with the proprietor, Mr. Bob Clement.
Hey there.
Everybody calls you Cuz though, right?
Cousin Bob.
Cousin Bob.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Bob, can you tell us about a little bit about this room, about some of the records that were cut here and the legacy of this
The
room?
legacy. Well, there is a lot that's been going on here.
Yeah.
A lot of records have been made here. Films have been made here. And it started back in 1975. Cowboy living here, he actually started making his Electra record here.
And you say
downstairs.
Cowboy
Jack Clement.
Okay.
He's my cousin.
Yeah.
And that's why they call me Cousin Bob, because
Yeah.
that's how he used to introduce me. This is my cousin Robert E. Lee Clement from Jackson, Mississippi. That's and that would be the reaction. He would make people laugh, and it's like, well, yeah, that's good. But anyway, I got here in 1987, but Cowboy started recording here in 1975.
Okay.
His Electra record is epic, and he started recording a few of the songs on that record. Queen Bee, he recorded downstairs in his bedroom on like just a nice recorder, but not a 24-track kind of thing. It probably was maybe a 4-track at that time, maybe an 8-track. And then he cut a couple of songs down there and got a record deal from it.
Wow.
You know, to finish a record.
Yeah.
And they gave him an advance, and they also gave him some more money, just a signing bonus type thing. And in doing so, he hired a carpenter to come up here and build the walls and build the studio. And then his first song to record in this studio was John Prine's song, "Hey, There She Goes, Walking Down the Street with All Her Clothes," you know, and that made it on Cowboy's record.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know Cowboy Jack Clement's record that was released in 1978 on Electra Records, you got to check that one out because it is a country classic. And so anyway, that was the beginning of this place being a studio. It had already been for several years, like offices downstairs and for publishing and things like that, because Cowboy had just finished making his movie Dear Dead Delilah.
Oh yeah.
So he kind of pulled back after that one. He pulled back, sold a few things, and hunkered down here and made an album.
Okay.
And so and everybody this became a clubhouse for songwriters, musicians, artists, and everybody from Johnny Cash to Waylon Jennings, Townes Van Zandt, just all of them really came here to hang out with Cowboy.
Yeah.
And, Cowboy's a songwriter Hall of Fame, and he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. And but this house, and they made a great documentary here that won first prize at the Nashville Film Festival. It's called Shakespeare Was a Big George Jones Fan.
And if you have not, I'm going to link this in the description, because that is the most absurd, wonderful bit of film.
Redefines on how to make a documentary. Before, documentaries have always been very educational. Yeah. You know? And this one opens the door to entertainment for a documentary in another way.
Shoot. And for those of you who don't know, Cowboy Jack, he was the first guy to bring Charlie Pride into the big scene.
He discovered Charlie Pride and wrote songs for Charlie Pride.
Yeah.
And produced 21 gold records on Charlie Pride.
Yeah, and it was his idea to put trumpets on Ring of Fire. Right? He produced that record, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the kind of guy he was. And some of the songs he's written...
well, he's in Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
so
you don't get there by accident.
Yes, you don't get there by accident. And, he's that, but a lot more than a songwriter, too.
Yeah.
And so he really has inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's basically what has made him, his reputation, is not just a producer, not just a songwriter, it's his personality, and how he carried himself and what he did. And that's the legendary part of him as much as any of his talent.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that's the background of what this place is, what it was. So, can you tell me a little bit about there was a fire here at one point, and how that transition came to be, the end of Cowboy's career, and how this place morphed. It was sitting dormant for a couple of years, no studio here. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, in 2011, I think it was early July, the place, a storm came through and lightning struck, came through the power line, ignited inside of a wall, and burned the place down, basically. And 15 fire trucks parked outside, emptied their water in here, and they just couldn't put it out. So it was pretty much total destruction, especially in the studio, because this is where the fire basically started, was up here.
Yeah.
So it burned the longest.
All the gear.
Everything was ruined.
Yeah.
A lot of people's projects and tapes, and a lot of 2-inch tape up here.
Yeah.
But, Cowboy wanted to rebuild after the fire, and he was getting up in his years. By that time, he was 80 years old, but and pretty much retired. But he wanted to rebuild, so we did, and got the studio back. It got everything gutted in the house, basically. So it got all new electrical, all new plumbing, all new floors.
Which is probably not a bad idea anyways.
All new windows and doors, And this year, the house is 100 years old.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was built in 1925.
Okay.
And once we rebuilt it, Cowboy moved back in 2012, and then he passed away downstairs in 2013.
Okay.
We didn't get it built to the specs that it is today.
Yeah.
Sound-wise,
right.
Steve Dewar, he is responsible for the sound up here, really. Okay. He designed the sound. These are the same type speakers, Uri speakers from 1979 that was here before the fire. I remember how it used to sound.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Cowboy had Uri 813s, and that's just like those speakers, except it has an extra woofer in it. And Steve Dewar designed that. And so I called him, and he came back and got the room sounding like it used to with the same gear. And it was amazing to see that come back to life.
Yeah.
He is an amazing sound designer.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard of Steve Dewar, well, you probably have. But if you've
heard his work.
You have heard his work, because he's designed more studios, and he's busier now in his life, and he's no young fella anymore, but he's got it. And I sat right back there and watched him tune the room from something that really did not sound good to something that was just like it used to be.
Yeah.
It took him about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, to hear it just transform.
Yeah.
It was rewarding.
Backing up a little bit to the fire, this could be my imagination, but isn't there a news clip of Cowboy Jack outside in his bathrobe, and they ask him about how you feel, and he says, "Well, I don't really like it, but I guess things happen that way."
Yeah, I think I was sitting next to him. He lived in that Elvis bathrobe, basically, and he was taking a nap when the fire hit. So, it was just like wake up and get out of the house, basically.
And you couldn't grab nothing. That had to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, and people like Sean came over immediately and got a lot of his instruments, climbed in the window of his office and got passing out the instruments.
Yeah.
But everything up here was way gone, and but they were saving a few things.
Yeah.
Mostly instruments, to tell you the truth, because the firemen wouldn't let you anywhere really near after a while. All we could do is just sit in the backyard.
Just watch it burn.
Wow. And that's
heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking, but he had a sense of humor even through that.
Yeah.
Somebody will walk by and he'll say, "Hey, you got a match?" Well, and but that's Cowboy, but you could see the sadness in him. It was going up. It was a lot of years, because
it's his legacy.
The best thing about Cowboy to me, of course, was all the records he produced.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of them, but a lot of those things had been mixed and mastered and released, and so in a big way, that wasn't lost. You
Yeah.
can always go listen to those things.
Right.
Maybe some, But what he did lose was all those side projects, the people, those artists that he loved enough to spend his own money on.
Yeah.
And
The crazy stuff.
the crazy stuff that's out of the box.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that stuff was lost.
Yeah.
And but we still had things on hard drive at that
Yeah.
point. We just started using computers,
Yeah.
and instead of 24-track kind of thing. And so people were coming over, and we just set up a little triage in that shed out back, and bringing down hard drives and sending things off to have things recovered.
Yeah.
And not, some things were recovered. You just do the best you can. You move on. That's kind of. And then Cowboy moved back in a year later, and
Yeah, you either gonna laugh or you're gonna cry, right?
Yeah, there was both.
Yeah.
There was both for sure.
Wow. So tell me about some of the great records that have come out of this place.
Some really great records have
Yeah.
come out of here. There were like 5 Johnny Cash records here, a few John Prine, Iris DeMint. Jerry Jeff Walker did a great record out of here. And also Peter Rowan did some really cool records out of here. Dale McCurry, the list goes on. Nanci Griffith, Iris DeMint. And so it pretty much goes on down the list of, and we made a radio station, an internet radio station.
Yeah.
It's called Clement House Radio, and you can download the app for free and listen to it in your car or anywhere you listen to music. And it's basically a radio station that plays nonstop the 50 years of musical history that this place.
Incredible.
It is, and then the radio station is a cool vibe. It's not like you don't hear a lot of hits on it. You just hear the music that you wish the radio would play more.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the radio is just made of hit songs that are out today. And you don't hear the other songs on the records that are just so cool, but we play the entire record.
Yeah.
We don't just cherry pick
Yep.
one or two. We play the entire thing.
Yep.
And so we got the things from Pat McLaughlin records,
Great.
that he did a couple here. And not all the music, but a lot of the music that we record now, from Sturgil Simpson to Tim O'Brien, some Del McCurry stuff, that's on the radio station too.
Yeah.
And so it's really something to see it all 24/7 in one location.
Yeah.
You can just go to, and then you get a feel really of what happened here. It's pretty cool.
And I will put a plug in here too. I have the app. It's fantastic. I drove 12 hours down here. It's fantastic for when you're driving and you just
Yes.
it's just it's got soul and there's no BS.
That's a good word for it. It does have soul.
Yeah.
That's the soul of the house is in that radio station.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you listened to it.
Yeah.
I do too. I listen to it on the road, man. It's like
It's great.
yeah.
So talk about so the house burned in, you said 2011.
Yeah.
And Cowboy passed in 12 or 13?
Yeah, 13.
13. So what was the process of you acquiring the place and really getting it to where it is today? Because this place is fantastic. I mean, you've got a great console, a great mic locker. It's fantastic. I was just here yesterday doing some stuff with the Oaks and Ron Vincent, and it's so fun to work here because it's not scary. It doesn't freak you out because it feels homey, but the gear is second to none. So talk about that transition of restoring, you acquiring the place and building it up.
Yeah, well, the people who had bought the place was a publishing company, and we had sold it to some people, the Zavitson Music Group, and they were a lot like us. They like to have a good time. They were into music publishing and writing songs and records, and so we figured that'd be a good fit for them to buy it. So, but a few years later, they called me and said, "Hey, we're done here. Would you like to have it?" And so I just put an offer on it. They accepted it. It just went really good.
So this was what, 2016?
That was 2018.
2018.
January 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, they had it for 3 years.
Okay.
And so, anyway, we started replacing a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd mentioned, Steve Durr designed the sound for us, got this console, and a lot of preamps, and you go through the microphones, and you got to have, some vintage things that people are looking for.
Yeah.
And we started putting the place back the way it used to feel.
Yeah.
Because I remembered how it was.
Yeah.
And then we repainted the stairs.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
I'll show them a picture of that.
That was a big deal. Just walking up the stairs, the stairway to heaven. People say it. Putting this up here, this loft up here, and then the stairs right here, going up to the balcony up there. Painting everything, getting the sound on the floors right, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because
and a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but it had everything it needed.
Yeah,
and so Cameron Davidson, he's been with me for 10 years now, and
he's an incredible engineer.
He did a lot of wiring and a lot of what it takes to put a studio back, and
smelled a lot of solder smoke.
It did.
Yeah.
No, he's a whiz, a wiring whiz.
Yeah.
And so it's fun, and here we are, and it does sound. People like David Ferguson came back to cut his records here.
Tell him who David Ferguson is.
David Ferguson is Cowboy's right-hand man all through the years. And when I got here in 1987, I knocked on the door, and Cowboy said, "Come on in." And we came up the stairs here, and Fergie was up there sleeping in a sleeping bag. It was about 60 degrees in here, had the air conditioner up. And I met Fergie then. They were making a Johnny Cash record up here. And but Fergie's always been around. But when the place burned and went to other ownership, so did he. He had a studio himself, the Butcher Shop. They were making great records there.
Yeah.
And but when this place got polished back up, he came back here and started making his records here, and he makes a lot of records here. All Sturgil Simpson stuff recently is done here.
Yeah. One of my favorite Fergie things is the Johnny Cash and Fiona Apple Bridge Over Troubled Water.
That's your favorite too?
Oh, that knocks me out. If y'all haven't heard that, it's just incredible. It's like unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
It's just perfect.
How does a girl sing like that?
I don't know, and just the rough with the pretty and the arrangement.
Yeah, it's very dualistic like that.
Yeah.
And how those two opposite worlds come together. I called Fergie one day. I said, "You recorded that, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "That's my favorite."
Yeah.
Man. I said,
beautiful.
"What you were in there? What were you thinking when
Yeah.
this was going down?" He's like, "Well, I don't know." He was probably used to that kind of magic or something, and I'm not, but it is my favorite. I'm glad to hear somebody else volunteer that up because I've turned a lot of people on to that performance.
You may have years ago. It's possible. I don't know, but
it's good.
Yeah, it's incredible. You mentioned in passing just a little while back, "Dear Dead Delilah." Which is like it's like a horror flick that Cowboy produced. He was into the film and all that whole world. And I know you have some of the same interests. Are you doing any of that stuff here still?
Yes. Cowboy got me into film lighting.
Okay.
And it was probably 1990 or something like that.
I was -4 at the time.
Yeah. And maybe 89 or something, and he hired a film director to come up here and teach us film lighting because Cowboy just bought all these Mole Richardson lights, spent a lot of money on it, and he wanted, because Cowboy's into video, and he had the latest video equipment, and he had these great big Sony U-matic recorders, 3/4-inch tape recorders, for video. And he wanted something to look good, so we started taking these lighting courses up here. Stephen Capels is who came up here and was teaching us lighting. And then for some reason, that art of lighting just resonated with me. And I ended up making a career out of lighting for about 13 years. Okay. And just traveled all over the world doing lighting for film and television stuff. And but have come back. Since I've come back, and making a couple of albums of my own, have reached out to try to find a visual, way of displaying that. And so I didn't want to do video, just because it's so common. So I went back to the film days. Yeah. And I got some professional Super 8 film cameras. And Cameron and I basically have a Super 8 film production studio here.
Wow.
Where we do it all here, from the lighting, production to camera operation. We develop the film right there.
You develop your own film?
We do. We process the film in this dark room. We make a little dark room over here. Hang it up to dry.
Incredible.
We've got a film scanner over here, and we scan it to digital, and then we go right into editing it. Mm-hmm. So we can do from beginning to end all in one day, from the time we're shooting it, and we'll be editing the film that's dried and transferred.
That's incredible.
And it was quite something to learn how to do from beginning to end. But it's been a lot of fun. We can use. Then we learned we can use lenses from 16 millimeter cameras, the Bolex 16 millimeter cameras. So we use that fine glass on our cameras, and you really get an artistic look. It's all about the image.
Yeah.
And the beauty in that. And so we just used our film lighting background, and it's a lot of fun. It's I don't think anybody else is doing that sort of thing.
No, not that I know of.
And so you can come here and you can make a record here from the beginning to end. You can make your record here. What we try to get people to do is do their overdubbing here, their mixing here. Mm-hmm. Cameron even will do mastering here. So from beginning to end, you can find out what the sound is here. Yeah. Because it is a sound, you know. Yeah. Cameron has a sound, the gear in the house has a sound, and you can everything today is usually a hybrid. Things are overdubbed here, they're mixed here, they're mastered somewhere else, and you never really know what a studio sounds like. Right. But that's not how they used to make records. They used to make records and record it and mix it all in the same place. Yeah. So, but you can come here and make your entire record. You can, we can put it on our radio station, you know, and we can make you videos and all right here. Yeah. It's kind of, we just kind of offer a lot of different things, and it's really not the expense that you think it is. It's kind of a passion project. Everything that we do is just a passion project, you know.
Well, that's how I met you, right?
Yeah, that's right. You were a passion project.
Yeah, man, and this was 2018. This must have been just after you got the place. Yeah. And Dickie said, "Hey, pal," Dickie Lee. He said, "Hey, pal, I got this guy, Cousin Bob. You got him." I was like, "Cousin Bob?" I said, "Yeah, he has this studio. You just guys should meet." And so he took me over here, and you were just getting your room set up, and you were like, "Man, you got songs?" And I said, "Yeah, I have songs." And then you went and hired like Dave Rowe, Pete Abbott,
Nick
Buda, Pete Wasner, just session players that Pat McLaughlin, that I was just like, man, it gave me an incredible education, first of all, in how this works, and it helped me build relationships with some people that have really helped my career and changed my life. Thank you for that.
Yeah, right. Well, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
We lived through it. Yeah. We're still friends.
Yeah, and I will say this, when talking about doing projects here, I've worked in a bunch of different studios, and what sets Bob apart and this studio apart to me is it doesn't feel like a scary studio. Like, I love the Sound Emporium, I love Ocean Way, and all those places are great, but every time I drive up there, I just get this little bit of anxiety, like, I better not suck today, because it's just, something about it is scary. Well, here, it's like, you just drive in, and you come in through the kitchen, and Bob is the snackingest son of a gun. He's like always cutting up cheese or some. Anyways,
we cook a lot.
Yeah,
here.
You cook a lot here, and so at least for me, it makes me feel like I'm at my house, just making music, and that puts you in a much better frame of mind than going to a big stone building somewhere where there's a receptionist at the front desk, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a different thing, and I think that's what you're great at curating, is that you're warm, personable, and you look for the best in everybody, and that's like one of your best traits, I think.
Well, that's what I saw Cowboy do.
Yeah.
I don't imitate too many people. I don't even think I imitate Cowboy, but I did learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
So I'd be a fool if I didn't imitate some things he did, and the way he conducts sessions, and the way he makes people feel welcome.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Yeah. And on top of that, all your gear works.
Yes.
Like a lot of these studios.
Yeah.
Even
I've heard.
Studios, it's like, Channel 3 and 4, can you just skip over those and go, And like, it's killer gear in a great spot, and it all works. And you got a B3, a killer B3, you got Rhodes, a Whirly, a mic locker that'll make your mouth water, and just all this stuff. But it feels, it's not intimidating for guys like me who, I'm a sawed-off Mennonite kid, and I could actually feel okay here, to create and feel at home. So that's special. That's really special.
Well, Cameron does a good job of maintaining gear and repairs, and we're not the kind of place that has 10 of everything.
Yeah.
We just don't. We have one of everything you need.
Yeah.
And it will be working just right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about that. And but I hear a lot about studios, and they have so many when something breaks, where they just pick up another one.
Yeah.
And then they just keep on that until really nothing's working right.
Yeah.
And we can't do that.
Yeah.
If something of ours breaks, we have to fix it immediately in order just to keep going.
Yeah.
And so that's just how all things. It's always been that way here. You can't afford to lose any of it.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is when you have the proprietor, like you own the place, you run the place, and you're here. It's like when you go into a little country diner and the owner's flipping hamburgers. Mm-hmm. And that's rare.
Yes.
In the studio business, it's like that does not happen at this level of production.
Yeah.
And that's your thing.
Okay.
I think that's what sets you apart, like miles from everybody else in town. So. So when I was pulling in this morning, I met a guy named Locke out there, and he was like a 19-year-old songwriter, and he's living in the shed down there. He said he's cutting some music. Tell me about all that, man.
Well, this place used to be called the Cowboy Arms Hotel and Recording Spa.
Yeah. Okay.
And so people for years thought this was like a hotel, but it really isn't. It's just a whimsical name that they came up with years ago. But through the years, people have always stayed here, and we kind of keep that going a little bit too. If somebody was going to cut a record here, I have a guest house out back, so we could house them for a little while. And Locke is a little more permanent than that. He's been here for some months, and but that's good. He's making an album here, and so it's just a little small little guest house, and right next. You've stayed there.
I've stayed there.
That's
I don't stay there no more because I got 3 kids.
Yeah, right. That would be funny to cram all them in there. But when I met Conrad, he couldn't hide his Mennonite construction skills from me for very long, and so we had this old rotted bridge out there, and it was rotted.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, either me or somebody, one foot fell through walking through it. So it's like, and you volunteered it up, man. He's like, oh, you want me to? I can build you a new bridge. I'm like, build a new bridge? Yeah, man. It's not going to be hard. I'm like, it was February. It was it was cold, and. Man, he was here like 6 a.m. Has the sun risen at that time? I don't know, but it was still dark. And there's Conrad with a lumber package tearing out the old bridge. And I swear to God, you did it in 2 days. The entire thing, haul off and everything, long, like... I was thinking, who raised him? I wonder who raised him to work like that.
Let me just tell you.
But it was pretty impressive. And let me tell you, the bridge out there now, and we've got the plaques on there, because the bridge was in memory of the man who worked here, who did all the publishing here, great international publisher, Bob Webster. And so put a plaque up there to designate that it was in memory of him.
But I'll tell you, from my perspective, I was working at Williamson Memorial, picking up bodies and doing janitor work for a funeral home, and I had a traumatic experience, working for the funeral home. I had to quit that job for my sanity, and I was like, well, shoot, if I'm going to be swinging a hammer, man, this would be the place I want to do it. So I was so grateful for the opportunity to work for you, because I came here, and I'd be working and I'd see these musicians coming in and out, got people I knew and admired. And so that was my perspective. I was just so happy to get to build the bridge for you.
Yeah. Well, the new hadn't worn off.
Yeah.
Of the Nashville new. I got you just at the right time. You're still excited. You'd do anything at that time. Yeah. No, but you did though. So.
Yeah. And then you've got out in the yard, you've got this a rainwater collection system.
Yes. The world's only rainwater collection shed. But
tell me about that.
Well,
Bob.
We have drank rainwater for over 10 years. That's all we drink. But we purify it, we sterilize it, and I've got this big platform that we clean off before it rains, and then we catch the rain, and it goes piped into this shed that's in the backyard, the water shed. And we just over purify and over sterilize it in there, and keep it in big tanks. You can go on our Clement House Films, and you can see the rain catcher film. We made a public service announcement.
Okay.
So everybody, if they want to learn how to catch rain, sterilize it, purify it, and drink it, and store it, distribute it, all that, you can go on there. It's called Rain Catcher on our YouTube channel.
Well, thanks, Bob, for taking the time. This is fun. I'm grateful that I've gotten to know you, and I just think it's so cool what you're doing here, stretching this, continuing Cowboys' legacy, and not only that, but making your own thing out of it and doing it your way. So, y'all, if you want a place to make some great art with some great people and a fun environment, Cuz is your guy. Cousin Cameron will hook you up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come see us.
All right, thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.